brand or bust. Because you got to understand, a lot of people, majority of the people, come up with ideas of building a brand, right? But the number one thing that stops people from building their brand is the thought of failing, right? And you got to understand, you don't want to set yourself up for failure, because that's going to lead to regrets, unwarranted regrets, right? That you shouldn't have in the first place. Because if you just went ahead and went forward and building your brand, building on your idea, bringing your idea into fruition, and believing in yourself and investing in yourself, you won't have to worry about any type of regrets whatsoever. Because you got to understand, we only live once. And the one thing you don't want to do is look down from 10, 15 years from now and have regrets on something that you should have done, or ideas that you have come up with, but you never took full advantage of it whatsoever. So that's going to be an episode today. So make sure you tap in with me. Episode 20. Yep. And grand rising to all my investors themselves out there. Thank y'all for tapping into another Invest Brand Podshow for this Monday. This is officially episode number 20. And today's topic we're going to be talking about is build your brand or bust. But before I get into the topic, you know what to do. If you're watching this playback on our YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Like you see in the back, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new episode drop. And make sure you hit that like button, so Invest Brand can definitely get into the algorithm. And if you are listening to this playback on Spotify, definitely hit the notification, hit the follow button so you can be notified when a new episode drops on Spotify. It's very, very important. And also make your way over to investbrand.com and become part of the journey. Invest Brand Journey was created for each and every one of you, so y'all can be part of the journey. Y'all can know what's going down with the Invest Brand of his whole self and what have you. So it's very, very important. And also make sure you definitely subscribe for another reason, is because the new Invest Brand radio show, the episode number 1 dropped last Wednesday. So definitely go and check that out on the YouTube, on the Invest Brand YouTube channel. So episode number 2 will be this Wednesday. Every Wednesday it's a new episode. So that's why it's so important for you to subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when both shows drop an episode. So it's very important to do that. But you know what time it is, man. Before I get into the topic, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and I'll be right back with the segment Quote Me on That, where I read you a quote and I explain to you what I mean by the quote and what have you. But make sure you tap back in with the Invest Brand Pod Show. Yep. To the Invest Brand Pod Show for today. Like I said, this is officially episode number 20. But before we get into the topic, we're going to jump into the segment Quote Me on That. That's where I read you a quote and I tell you what I mean by the quote and what have you. So for today's quote on Quote Me on That segment is, don't be afraid of failing only to leave yourself with regrets. So let me read that again just in case you didn't hear it or you didn't catch it or what have you. Don't be afraid of failing only to leave yourself with regrets. So what the quote means is, don't be afraid to fail. Basically, that's simple. Don't be afraid to fail, because you got to understand, in life, we only live once. So don't be afraid to go for what you want in life, right? Or don't be afraid to bet on yourself or invest in yourself, because a lot of us have ideas, and a lot of times a lot of us might have an idea that might be that home run idea that might take us, like I said, to the next level, might be able to take you to where you want to go, or be a start of building your foundation of a brand and what have you, right? So that's why it's so important, man, to to not be afraid to fail, because you gotta understand, a lot of us failed at a lot of things, right? We all had ideas. We all failed. You're not going to be the first person that ever failed in life, but don't allow failure to stop you from doing what you want to do in life, only to leave yourself with regrets when you look back from 10 to 15 years from now, what have you, and you sitting there like, man, I had all these great ideas, but now I didn't put it in use and what have you. So you don't want to leave yourself with regrets. It's very important, man. In life, you can fail in life, but at the same time, you still have more chances to be able to succeed, right? But one thing you can't do is when you get down, like I said, get past 10 and 15 years later, you cannot go back and try to redo your past and what have you. Try to get them ideas going and what have you. So that's why it's very important that you not leave yourself with regrets and what have you. So that's what the quote was. I'm gonna read it one more time before I end the segment. Don't be afraid of failing, only to leave yourself with regret. So that's the segment for today. Quote me on that, what have you. Like I said, man, today's topic that we're going to be talking about is build your brand or bust. So basically what that means is build your brand, right? It's important because if you don't build your brand, like I said before, it's only going to be a bust, because no one is going to know what this great idea that you had for a brand, right? Because you never tapped into it. You never made people aware of your brand. And that's one thing of when you're building your brand, is basically making people aware of your brand. And that's through strategies that you came up with. That's through campaigns. That's through content, right? On your social media platform or what have you, or that's through marketing and what have you, whatever it takes to get people aware of your brand. That's steps you take to building your brand, right? And that's why it's so important, because a lot of us, man, a lot of times, like I said, have great ideas, right? But we never know if they work because we never put them to use. We never see, or we never test it, right? We just let it sit to the wayside and never do anything with it. That's why a lot of us have that, what's that saying, man, I swear I was going to do that, because you see somebody else doing something that was similar of an idea that you came up with, or doing the same of what idea you came up with, but you never put it to use, with somebody else that came up with that same type of idea or similar to what you had. They are betting on themselves. They putting it to use. They building on that brand that they have created for themselves, right? That's why you never want to leave yourself with any type of regrets, right? Like I said before, a lot of people failed. A lot of people failed before they had that home run idea that took them to that next level, right? Where it might take you 2 or 3 ideas, maybe take you even more ideas before you define that one idea that's going to be your home run hitter. Because once you find that idea that's going to work, that's going to give you your blueprint, because now you recorded all the steps it took to be able to build an idea that was successful. Now you can repeat that same blueprint and use it from years to come to build other brands that you might come up with, ideas you come up with far as other brands and what have you, right? So that's why it's so important that you build on your brand, the idea that you have for a brand, because like I said, a lot of times, a lot of us have great ideas, but we never take the time or the opportunity when we get the time to build on it, right? We just, we talk ourselves out of it, because we start thinking about what happened if I failed, because for most people, failing is a tough pill to swallow, right? But you got to understand, you're not the only one that failed in life. Trust me, right? You have people that's multi-millionaires right now. They would tell you right now that so many business ideas that they had, that they failed, and they finally found one that worked. You have a lot of people, right, that failed at try to build businesses or brands, but they finally was able to learn from their failure. See, failing is nothing but gaining experience on how to build something, right? You get an experience, and you're going to learn from that experience. You're going to learn from, okay, this is what I did wrong. This time I'm going to do this, right? Or you might take a point. You can always find something good even though you fail. Okay, this particularly, even though my idea failed, but this concept worked rather than, maybe the other part of it didn't. So I'm gonna take a piece of this, then I'm gonna add the new part to it, and I'm gonna see if this worked, right? But you'll never know if you never build on your brand, and it's very important, man, to build your brand. And I say that because for the simple fact, if you don't build it, if you don't build it, then it's a bust. And what I mean by bust is it's gonna be bust is just regret. It's going to be a regret, right? It's never going to come into fruition. It's going to be a bust. It's never going to pan out, right? You have it in your head. You can visualize it. You can see the idea of the brand that you created and what have you. But all it is just a idea in your head. It don't go no further than that, right? So no one know what it is. No one have no brand awareness of your brand, of the idea that you created, what have you. It's nothing but a bust. And that's going to leave you what? With regrets. When you look down the line from 5 to 10 years from now, you're going to be like, man, why didn't I take the time when I had the time? Why didn't I take the advantage of it and build it, right? Because we are afraid of failing. See, you can't be afraid of failing. Like I said, man, if you're gonna be afraid of failing, right, that's gonna lead you to only have what? Regrets in life. Because the thing about it is, man, like I said, you can look up successful CEOs right now, right? And you can look at their stories, and within majority of CEOs that you see, they would let you know within their story, like, hey, I had so many ideas, businesses before I got this successful one. I failed time after time after time again, but I never stopped trying, right? I had a lot of ideas. I never stopped going through my ideas because I knew one day one of them was going to work. And that's the point of creating ideas, because when you create ideas, that's going to allow you to have more chances of succeeding, right? Rather than you creating an idea and you just hone in on that idea and it doesn't work. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to stop trying. You're going to stop trying to move forward and what have you. And guess what? When you stop, that means you're not in motion no more, right? So that's why it's so important, man, when you are creating your ideas, to create multiple ideas. Because if one idea don't work, you can always go to the next idea. It's going to continue to have you moving forward, right? Rather than you just standing there, because now you standing still because your idea that you created didn't work, right? And now you are there, and you it's like quicksand, because the idea didn't work. The thought of, now I failed, now you don't want to try no more. It's over with, right? And that's when you allow regrets to sit in, because you allow failure to stop you. And that's why I said, man, you do not want to allow failing in life or failing at something, because we all fail. I failed in things in life. I had a lot of business ideas, right? Some of them I haven't even worked on yet. It's ones that I did. I wasn't successful at it, right? But it didn't stop me from trying whatsoever, right? If I allowed that to stop me, I wouldn't have Invest Brand at all, right? Invest Brand was one of my other ideas, right? Like I said, I had a couple ideas before Invest Brand. It didn't pan out, right? Whatsoever, but I didn't allow it to stop me. I kept moving forward. I kept pushing forward, because I knew one day I'm going to find that home run recipe, and it's going to be something that I'm going to be able to position myself to be able to get to that next level, that's why it's so important as an entrepreneur, man, to understand, man, Failing ain't nothing but experience. That's how I put failing. Failing is nothing but experience to help you learn, to be able to move forward, to know what to do, what not to do, because you got to have something in life of a reference point, right? Now, if, like I said, if I decided to just hang it up after my other business endeavors and what have you before this one, since they didn't pan out, if I just allow that to stop me, like I said, I won't be right here today or what have you. But I understand, as an entrepreneur, it's going to be many times, many things that may not work, but that's part of entrepreneurship. That's why you got to entrepreneurship is like I tell people, it's not a lifestyle. It's a commitment, because it's going to be a lot of things you're going to be committed to that might not go your way, but it's not going to stop you from moving forward or what have you. That's why it's so important, man. That's why I tell people, if you have an idea, execute it, build on it, right? Come up with your concepts, come up with your strategies, right? Come up with things that's going to help you get your brand out there, help people come aware of your brand, because it's very important to understand that. It's very important to know how to do that and whatsoever, because like I said, a lot of times, and another thing that stop people from executing the idea that they have come up with far as a brand and what have you, not just the thought of failing, is they allow others to deter them from executing on their idea, right? Just example like this, right? You have somebody that you trust in, or just, people that you know in general, right? You run past an idea that you may have far as building a brand and what have you, right? And they tell you, say for instance, you want to build you a t-shirt brand or a hoodie brand or what have you. And people tell you, well, that market is already saturated. You have a lot of other people doing that, right? So you might not be successful at doing that, what have you, right? But the idea that you may have may be different than every other t-shirt brand, right? Or hoodie brand or what have you. Or it might not be different. It might be something that's similar, but your personality, your uniqueness, the person that you are, stands out, that makes people want to be part of your community, people that want to support your brand and what have you, but you would never know, because you allow others to deter you from going in that direction and executing your idea and whatsoever. So that's why it's so important that you block out anything that's going to stop you from executing on the idea, because you got to understand, it may be a lot of other t-shirt brands out here. It might be a lot of other brands that make hoodies and what have you, but the idea that you have, your uniqueness, your creativity, what have you, is something on the next level, right? That no one can match, that no one can duplicate or anything of that such and what have you. But you would never know, because you allow the thought of failing to set in, or you allow somebody to talk you out of executing your idea because they told you something that wasn't true, because you have something that was special, an idea that no one else ever came up with, or someone haven't even thought about or whatsoever. So that's why it's so important that you continue to push forward on the idea that you have, and don't allow others or the thought of failing to stop you from succeeding with building that, right? So this is very important, guys. It's very important. Just like I said, let me piggyback off what I said as far as my brand, Invest brand, right? Investing, right? Investing in yourself, right? This is something that would never go away. Like I said many times, investing in yourself, people going to invest in themselves for generations, right? Generations come generation to generation. So investing in yourself is like real estate. People are not going to stop buying houses, just like people are not going to stop investing in themselves, right? So Invest brand is built on the concept of people investing in themselves, and we are here to help you stay motivated into investing in yourself, keep you encouraged, empower you, right? This is what this brand is all about. And this is a brand built on the concept of longevity, right? Just like you take the Jordan sneakers, like I like to use this example all the time, because this is, like I said in many shows, Jordan brand is so much of an anomaly that is a generational brand that it doesn't matter what generation it is, people are going to continue to buy Jordans. Even little kids know what Jordans are. And that's how I want Invest brand to be, right? That's why I built it on the concept of investing in yourself, because this brand can last for the longer as it can, or as long as how it will last as far as I take it. Because investing in yourself is something that is generational, right? And this is going to be a brand that's going to be a generational thing for each generation to come. I can pass this down to my son. My son can pass it down to his kids or what have you, because investing in yourself is something that's very important. It's always going to be something that's going to be important. So that's why I created the Invest brand. And this was an idea. This was my home run idea, right? That I created. So now what I have to do now is put everything in motion. I have to make people become aware of Invest brand, let people know what Invest brand is, what Invest brand stands for. So it's a lot of steps that has to be taken to become people, so people can become aware of Invest brand, so people can feel comfortable about joining our community, because they understand we are here for them, right? We are here to help people stay invested in themselves, and what have you, right? So that's why it's so important, man, to make sure you capitalize on your idea. Don't allow anybody to stop you from possibly a home run idea that you have, right? You got to execute on it. You got to be consistent. Don't procrastinate on it, right? At all whatsoever. And that's another thing I want to touch before this show is over. It's procrastination. That's another thing. We got stop people from building the brand on the idea that they came up with and what have you. I said the thought of failing, listening to others, and procrastination is another thing. Procrastination is one of the big ones, right? We procrastinate on something every day only to never do it. Or we procrastinate on something to only lead ourselves with regrets that we should have done something, but we never did it. Now somebody came along and took your idea, or somebody came along and executed on the idea that you have. So what I say, procrastination is one of the big ones. Procrastinating is definitely one of the big ones. We do it every day, and we don't get things done that we should have done. Like I said, we all have great ideas, right? But we never know if they work if we don't do what we supposed to do. That is the show for today, guys. Thank y'all for tapping in with me on another edition of this Invest Brand Podshow, episode number 20. So definitely, like I said before, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell, and make sure you hit the like buttons, because it's very important for the Invest Brand Podshow to get embedded in the algorithm, so we be able to get the show out to everybody that needs the motivation, that needs the empowerment, and what have you, man, that wants to join the Invest brand community, what have you. So it's very important, very, very important. And also make sure you hit the follow button on, if you listen to this on Spotify and what have you, so you can be notified when a new episode drop. And go to investbrand.com, join our journey. And also, like I said, make sure that you go every Wednesday, tune in to the Invest Brand radio show. Episode number 1 dropped last weekend, so you definitely can enjoy that. And look forward, man, this Wednesday for the Invest Brand radio show, episode number 2. So this is going to be a big year for Invest Brand, guys. Oh, man, be easy. Yup. Tap in.